Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, I'm here with.
AJ Talent, and guaranteed, now that we hit record, Skype's gonna shit the bed 800 times in a row.
Yeah, because you know, we literally talk about it like every time, like we on a Skype call, it works perfectly, no problems, nothing, and then we hit record, it just shits the bed. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Seriously, we talked for like a half hour, no problems. Now that we're recording, guaranteed.
yeah,
Anyway, I'm Alan Talent. He is Owen Finch. This is his channel.
this is and this is going on both CM Brothers and on the Talking to channel. You as you can tell by the title of the video, which we're gonna say in a second, you'll see why. Um, but today's a very, we should say sad day because I was make it sound like we're losers and having no lives because, you
Yeah,
know,
because I mean, this is basically our life at this point.
yeah.
We have no life outside of YouTube.
I
Uh,
mean, it's really not true because we haven't done any videos in like a month, so it's
oh
like,
God, we want to, but life.
yeah,
I'm going to college. He's in college. Everybody loves college.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, um, but today's kind of an emotional day, like for both these channels because, yeah, like I said, this is going on the Talkinator and CM Brothers channel because it's going to be our last talk of both shows that have have been very greatly talked about, very highly impacted these channels, being Death Note and Breaking Bad. We've
Death
been
Note
on,
for CM Brothers and Breaking Bad for Owen Talkinator.
yeah, you know, um, it's kind of sad, because it's like I said, it's been one of the most talked about things, but it had to come to an end at some point, and
Yeah. At
thank
least for the main shows. Breaking Bad, we still got Better Call Saul in the movie
yeah,
to talk about. Death Note, we got like the live action
yeah,
movies and all that.
and Breaking Bad, like before the movie comes out, we're gonna do like season overviews of the show
Yeah.
again, just because AJ wasn't there for like the first 3 seasons, and you know, um, just yeah, and because and by the time we might as well like do 4 and 5 because if we're watching the first three, it doesn't make any
Might as well
sense.
talk about the two best ones, 4 and 5.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to do it that way. But you may notice like throughout like a lot of the Breaking Bad and Death Notes, we talk about a lot of things that are alike and different from those shows.
Yeah.
And we should say I don't think it was something though that happened on purpose. Obviously Death Note because that was before Breaking Bad, but
Yeah, we just like compared a lot and like because we like both shows and we watch and be like, oh hey, this is kind of like, the other show, or like, hey, I wonder how this would happen in the other show.
like I feel like if Vince Gilligan took elements from Death Note, he would have said it like in interviews and stuff. But obviously there's elements of Breaking Bad that makes it feel like Death Note and vice versa. So
Yeah, I mean,
we
I
probably
doubt they took inspiration from each other, but it's a nice thought if they did.
yeah. I mean, obviously Death Note.
They're about similar things.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a compare and contrast video. So basically in school, if you've ever had to write in a compare and contrast essay where you had to, say that yeah, I know it sucks. Say the same thing and different things about whatever it was you're talking about. This is basically a video version of that with Breaking Bad and Death Note.
Yeah,
So
except it's actually fun and I'm not getting graded for it.
I mean, but we are getting graded by the fans. So.
Oh, the fans, all two people that watch our videos, being me and you.
Well, we'll grade ourselves later too. Remember, we've graded our videos before where we've had stinkers.
Yeah, we've had our highs and our lows. Hopefully, this will be one of the highs.
I think it will be because like I said,
we love both these shows. So
yeah. So how we're gonna do this is we're gonna talk about some of the stuff the stuff that's the same first, and then the stuff that's different. But there'll be some times where we'll jump around because there's scenes in each show where it's the same but different at the same time. And it's tough to explain it just based off that sentence, but you'll see what we're talking about once we actually break it down.
So our first objective is to talk about Walt and Light, their beginnings, how they start off at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. And like I said, if you want like an overview of what these shows are about, go look it up online because
we're not actually watch the shows because they're pretty good.
Yeah. Because if we do that, we'll be here for like 45 minutes, and we don't want to be here because then we'll be here longer. So, but yeah, let's talk about the two main characters, Walt and Light. Let's talk about Walt first. Mainly because Breaking Bad's the show we finished first. I think that's just going to be the show we kind of talk about first. We talked about it. Walt, was a 50-year-old. Because in the first episode, he turns 50. Like high school, chemistry teacher that really wasn't achieving in life. He felt like he could have done a lot more. Like I said,
he was like a genius. We saw he contributed to a experiment that won a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, he co-found gray matter, which you get the sense that most of Walt's influence is in gray matter. Gretchen and Elliot kind of we really haven't talked about it a whole lot, but while they probably helped, I feel like Walt's work went into it. Gretchen.
I feel like Walt was like the main one who got it off the ground.
Yeah, like Gretchen and Elliot probably like. I just get the sense like maybe knew like more about business and such than probably Walt did.
Yeah, I feel like Walt was like the main like contributor like in the products.
Yeah, which that's and then but like I said, he's underachieving. He has to work 2 jobs just to provide for his family. Being
his son has a disease where he can't walk properly.
Yeah,
his wife is expecting a second kid they didn't plan on.
Yeah. So, Walt wanted to get some excitement in his life, and then he gets cancer, and that really what motivated Walt to finally, get excitement.
In a way, his cancer is his death note in a weird way.
Yeah, because in a way, he picked up the death note by catching cancer. So.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, I guess. Yeah. Cancer is kind of death.
So, he finally became, the drug kingpin. And, Walt, though, in the beginnings of this, cooking meth and stuff doesn't really, start off very well. He's very hesitant on killing just Crazy 8 in the beginning, and he's remorseful about it. And, he just full on wanted out of the business. And he was still, like, kind of a rookie doing it. Anytime, Hank would make jokes that he's onto him, Walt would kind of think he's serious at first and then, not realize he's joking. I know that's a little thin. Like, kind of showed how much of a rookie kind of Walt was.
Yeah,
so.
Walt definitely compared to Light, he didn't play it as safe at the beginning.
Yeah. And then eventually, at the end, because we'll just say at the end he becomes, the big drug kingpin who basically is like a ruthless killer in a way.
Yeah. So like Death Note, it's kind of like the main character becoming evil over time.
Yeah. And since I talked about Walt, why don't you talk about Light, like where Light starts and then obviously ends? I know we were I was very vague on Walt, but since the video is going to continue, we're going to kind of get into that more. So.
Yeah. Well, a lot like Walt, Light is a genius in life. He's very smart, very capable. But unlike Walt, he's very young too. He's only 17 or 18.
Yeah.
The show. So he doesn't really have that problem of feeling underachieved. He's like the top student in the country. He has a great family. He respects his family a lot. He loves them. He's not he's not worried about money issues. But like Walt, he's not happy with his life. He sees all the crime around him and thinks the world's rotten.
Yep.
But so when he picks up the Death Note, he's basically given this excuse to fix his problems with the world.
Yeah, and then
and unlike Walt was very rookie-ish, hesitant to do killing and certain things. Walt after his second kill, he was he was okay with it. He questioned himself for a minute, but then he talked himself into being no, I need to kill more people.
It's kind of funny too because in the first episode of Death Note, I didn't notice it till I watched it back the second time. A month had went by where Light was just killing people, and where Yuki even says Light wrote down more names in a month than anybody has. And although actually, let me rephrase that. So Light in a month wrote down more names than anyone in history, and that's picked up the Death Note.
Yeah, humans.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Which is No, obviously too. There's obviously other reasons for it, probably too, because maybe like in the span of a month, people weren't like smart of how to like keep the death notes and stuff. But still, in a span of a month, he wrote more names than any human in history. In the death note.
Yeah.
That just that should have showed us like, and I feel like we kind of did bad not talking about it. That. Just showed you right there like how much he just changed in a month.
Yeah, like how quick that death note warped him. Because we see it when he loses his memory later on. Like Walt, like I keep saying Walt, Light is like a legit good person. Like he would have grown up to be an amazing person, but the death note just fucked with his head.
Yeah, and there's things that are different about it too. Like we said, the death note. They talk. Chief Yagami theorized like after he went in his heart attack. I think it's like episode 10, 11-ish, where he says that the death note puts a curse on you in a way, even though like he didn't know it was a death note, but he basically said it. Where Kira's cursed, and that basically is what happened.
And I mean, I don't mean it like literally, like the death note was like sending up my mind waves. I mean it like he just got too much power,
And we've talked about this before too. What Light went through, because like I said, both shows, this is a difference. Like I said, we were gonna do the same stuff first, but sometimes it just depends on what the topic is we're talking about. The difference is what Walt's going through is he's just becoming, an evil drug empire, where Light is what Death Note is, about yeah, pretty much. So we've talked about probably killing someone is gonna change your mindset faster. Than being a drug kingpin. Even though I know Walt had to kill somebody, but plus too, Walt had physically had to kill someone technically. Walt Light just kind of wrote someone's name down in a way.
Yeah, we keep doing the same thing. We keep saying Light is Walt. Light didn't have to physically see people die. They just wrote their names down.
Yeah.
And I think it's also like what makes it Light more irredeemable than Walt.
Yeah.
I feel like Light changed faster.
Yeah. And especially too, we talk about, how like Light's pure in the world from like criminals. But there's like, some people can be criminals but end up being like, pretty good people. Like someone would just commit like a stupid crime out of nowhere. Yeah. But
actually, I think Light points that out in a later episode. Like the original Kira would like make exceptions. Like
so there you go. But yeah, let's continue.
He didn't know he was Kira. Yeah.
Let's kind of continue though, like talking about them. Walt. Like I said, the difference is Walt. Was a little bit redeemable because you could kind of get the sense why Walt was doing it at first in the season, because they showed like a good deal, like the family wasn't going to have like enough money, to pay for his cancer bills and such. So, even though like the fans always knew the real reason why Walt was doing it, but I thought Breaking Bad like did a really good picture. Like, yeah, he probably wants to do it, but he also feels like he has to do it in a way because
right, like it's like his justification is really sound, so like it's hard to like really like feel like he's just doing it for himself.
Yeah.
With Light, like even though Light himself believes it that he's doing it for a greater good, it's easier to like break through that. Like, no, you're just a crazy person who likes power.
Yeah. And we could talk about too, different things, but the same things, that kind of happen. We've talked about this, how they were both master manipulators in their shows. Walt, manipulating Jesse, even if he knew it or didn't know it. Certain scenes you could say like where that happens is, a big scene, is, even Walt letting Jane die, and then kind of admitting, kind of getting Jesse to not really telling Jesse, kind of getting Jesse kind of think like it's their own fault because of addicts and stuff, when he could have saved Jane originally, and I feel like Walt
now he kept like manipulating Jesse to stay with him and like not get out of the game.
Yeah, whether he knew he was knowingly doing it or not.
Yeah, like I feel like Walt thought he was just looking out for Jesse, but really he was like just manipulating him to do what he wants.
Yeah, and then two occasions where Walt knowingly manipulates Jesse, like where he knows he's doing it. Is first
the Brock situation.
Yeah, poisoning Brock, which a lot of people can justify it. I mean,
like he poisoned a little kid, like whether he knew he was gonna live or not.
Yeah, so it's tough.
Still put him in critical condition.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason like you can justify it is Walt was kind of left like with no other choice at that point but to poison Brock, because if he didn't poison Brock, him and Jesse both would have died. Because that got Walt to get Jesse on his side, so that way they could finally kill Gus.
Yeah.
But still, he poisoned a little kid.
Walt definitely would have died. Jesse would have been forced to work for Gus forever, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, like he still poisoned a little kid and manipulated Jesse to do what he wanted. Yeah. Another time where he knowingly manipulates it doesn't get talked about, I don't think, enough, because of the whole poison Brock is when he has Jesse meet him out on the date at the desert with Saul. And, he kind of convinces Jesse to finally, change his, go into hiding pretty much and change his identity, basically, so he could just, get rid of Jesse, because he was kind of a threat, because he was too connected with Walt, and Hank was going to get to him. And Jesse, finally calls him out on it and stuff like that. He knowingly does it. And I think when you finally know he's doing it is when he hugs Jesse, and you can just feel like he's fueling off of Jesse's misery right there.
Yeah. And that's not to say Walt doesn't care about Jesse, because obviously he cares about him, but he doesn't care enough about his feelings in a way.
Yeah.
Which is honestly, it's better than Light, because at least Walt, he manipulates, but he still cares about the people he manipulates, and he doesn't. Yeah. Light, he just doesn't give a shit about the people he manipulates.
Yeah. But other cases we could talk about where Walt's manipulated people, where anytime Hank would get any type of ground, thinking he saw the case that Walt's going to be Eisenberg, he'll take him in another direction. Basically a big example is when he finally figured it out, he tried to manipulate his way Hank out of it by saying, I have my cancers back. There's no point of trying to, catch me, or convict me. Another example is, the many times he manipulated Skylar, throughout their relationship. Once she found out he was in the drug business by having her launder his money. Basically,
he forced Saul to keep working with him, even though Saul wanted out.
Yeah, pretty much. There's just you could just name so many different occasions where Walt was manipulating people.
Yeah.
But the difference, like I said, Walt cared about the people he was manipulating too. And, there was times where he didn't even know he was being manipulative. But why don't you talk about the key factors where Light was manipulating people and what the difference kind of is?
When he realized that Misa was obsessed with him, he just 100% took advantage of that and would have Misa kill people for him and just do all sorts of things, especially with the whole Rem situation, when he wanted Rem to kill L, and thus killing two birds with one stone. He had Misa kill people as Kira for him.
Yeah.
He knew Rem would kill L to save her.
And basically Rem, there was nothing she could really do about it at that point.
And Light knew if Rem didn't kill L, Misa would have been caught.
Yeah.
So Light was 100% fine with Misa getting put in danger.
And, other times he was manipulating people is, Ray Pember's wife, so she could, so he could get her name and finally kill her.
Ray Pember himself, he made him kill his own co-workers and then gave him a heart attack.
And, cause that whole bus hijack so that way he could get his name, too.
And honestly, I feel like Light is more sadistic with it, too. He stood in front of Ray Pember before he died, so he let him know that Light was Kira.
I always think too. A lot of people could say too, maybe he had to be there because the transmissions they were talking on wouldn't have worked. But I feel like
short distance.
Huh?
Yeah, he gave him like a short distance
Yeah.
radio, so there would be no record of the.
But I mean, that's probably a reason. But I still like to think like Light wanted to be there just to see like how powerful he could be. He could become like.
And the same thing with his fiance. Like he didn't have to tell her that he was Kira and that he killed her.
I know, yeah. And then he manipulated L a lot to like make him think that he tried to make him think like he wasn't Kira and such. Even though that manipulation really didn't work out.
He had Rem give his death note to that other guy, Taka, whatever.
Oh yeah, Mikami.
No, the before the time skip, Takeuchi, I think.
Oh, Higuchi. Yeah, and he manipulated Takeda. Speaking of that,
Takeda, that's where I get the T from.
Yeah, he manipulated Takeda, and got basically the same way as Misa, but not as
Takeda killed Mel.
Yeah.
Then killed her when he was done with her.
I remember too. That was even too much for you. Like you were like, man, Light's just ruthless. Like
yeah, I know, like piece of shit, dude.
And then but going back, we talked about it though too, and this would tie in. What makes them different is at the end of the show, Walt was redeemable and Light wasn't. Walt.
I feel like they were both irredeemable, but like Walt at least tried to redeem himself a little bit.
Yeah. Because Walt, and it all goes back to episode 16, but even kind of a little bit before that, like he tried to save Hank. In the Ozymandias episode. See, I'm even questioning how to pronounce that now because I keep screwing.
I know how to pronounce it because I'm smart.
Yeah. And he like tried to save Hank's life, and he mended his relationships with Hank. And that could be
he also he also let Jesse get kidnapped and tortured. So
Yeah. But it's really at like the last episode where he redeems himself. His family's gonna get finally his money. From all not all the money, but most of the a good chunk.
$2 million. It's more than he originally wanted.
Yeah.
He avenged Hank by killing the neo-Nazis, and he saved Jesse.
He gave Skylar the code so that way of the coordinates of where to find Hank and Gomez's body, so that your favorite Gomez. So that way she would be able to get the house back and stuff and not be as guilty. He freed Jesse from slavery. He just really he finally I feel like he redeemed kind of himself. Like he was if he had died like we said before at the end of Granite State, he would have died miserable, I think. But because he died at the end of Vilana.
Close enough.
He died happy.
Or as satisfied at the very least. His family hates him, but at least he died doing what he wanted.
Yeah, and that contrast. Light. Like I said, worked all day. I didn't say this, but I also worked all day and stuff in the sun landscape, and so I'm kind of not really with it as much, but I'm awake enough to do this video. Just
at least not Florida like me. So
yeah, hey. I'm just my brain's probably not working as fast.
I got you, but Light died miserable and didn't get to accomplish what he wanted.
I mean, that's I think that's debatable. I kind of think he did accomplish what he wanted. In a sense.
He left his mark on the world.
Yeah.
But he didn't kill Nier, and he got caught.
Yeah.
Ryuki even said it Light, looks like you lost.
Yeah. And we should talk about too, because other things too, because we feel like we're not really, because we don't want to make this just a Walt and Light video
Yeah,
because it seems like that's where it's kind of going right now. Because there's other things that that it compares and contrasts.
I feel like that's the biggest segment because those are like
Yeah,
Breaking Bad and Death Note are very focused on those two.
and we'll come back to
Also focused on, good segue,
Yeah.
to their rivals or
Yeah.
their enemies in a way.
and we
Hank Schrader and L.
yeah. And like a billion of his alias names that we're not going to mention right now. But yeah, we will say too, it's not like we're not going to talk about Light and Walt again because they will probably get brought up again. So yeah, so like I said, they had to kind of face similar rivals in a way, because coincidentally enough, what made Light and Walt so Light and Walt so powerful is they had inside knowledge, of their case because Light was working with the task force, but even before that, he had access to since his father was
database because his dad was the chief of police.
Yep. And Walt, because Hank worked with the DEA, and he was like,
he just would ask Hank like, "Hey Hank, how's that Eisenberg case going? I'm definitely not him."
Yeah, that would have been funny. That would have been hilarious if you could just see him, like those exact words, like
make it like super obvious that it's him, and Hank just like go right over his head.
Yeah, and we should talk about that too. Actually first, but yeah, so anytime Hank would get anywhere near to solving the case, Walt would throw a monkey wrench in there. Some examples is he killed he got all the prisoners killed. So that way Hank couldn't investigate them because they would have cracked in a second because they weren't getting their money and such.
Yeah.
He destroyed the laptop so that way Hank couldn't get access to the video camera footage. He told Gus about that he had GPS under his car. So that way Gus, because Matt, because if he didn't say anything, Gus would have just driven around to all the places with the GPS on his car. A big one actually we should mention is WW, who do you figure that is? And he shows him the Walt Whitman poem, which at the time he was good thing. It was a monkey wrench, but then it didn't really become a monkey wrench after that. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you also had the same thing with Light. And Light, Walt did it very well. And we should say too, because the Death Note's supernatural, Light had more access to, so that way he could throw monkey wrenches, and
yeah, it's no one knew how he was killing.
Yeah. And that could be another thing that's the same. Because we talk about too we talked about it throughout the Death Note's whole review history.
Did you hear that or no?
What?
Oh, my computer just made a unholy noise.
You're freezing on and off, but it's nothing it's nothing bad though.
I don't know. My computer just went so. I don't know.
Maybe maybe it doesn't like this video. So
yeah, all right, well, time to fuck that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But anyhow, but yeah, the reason it took L longer to solve this case is, and the whole task force is they didn't know about the Death Note, and like we said, without knowledge of the Death Note, it makes it impossible to solve the case.
Yeah, and Hank, it's Hank is very smart. I feel like people give him a lot of crap for not knowing his stepbrother was a drug lord.
Yeah.
But, he had known Hank. He had known Walt for years at that point.
Yeah.
It's like if I found out I've known you my whole life. It's like if I found out you were a secretly drug kingpin, which I'm hoping you aren't.
No.
It's like
yeah.
So they both had very big obstacles that wouldn't let them see it.
Yeah.
Oh, Al kind of knew it was Light.
Yeah.
He just couldn't prove it because of the Death Note.
Yeah.
And with Hank it was the opposite. He couldn't prove. He wouldn't even think it was Walt. He'd be the last person he would think of.
Yeah. And I feel like a difference is Hank created his own rival where Al didn't, because had Hank not dropped that quote, like I said, why don't you get some excitement in your life and showing Walt how to make money, with meth, there'd be no Eisenberg. So,
Right.
And then well, they probably would have been an Eisenberg, but he wouldn't have had to deal with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like he jump started. Like I'm sure Walt would have landed on meth eventually.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine, like, he went somewhere else, like, he just decided, to become a serial killer himself.
There you go.
Yeah. And like, what's the worst that's gonna happen, like, if he sells? I mean, it wasn't like, just the meth though, but like, he was doing all other.
Yeah, I feel like the murder was a little bit, but just a little bit, just a little bit.
But then
poisoning kids and all.
I feel like that the same thing like that happened, with these two is like the characters that they were going against. They did both shows really showed like that Hank and Elle were very good adversaries for Walt and Hank.
And they're like two sides of the same coin in a way.
Yeah. For Elle, I feel like a big scene that really shows that. Well, two big scenes that really show that. First is when he tricks Light into killing Lindell Taylor, because I'll just tell you, I might have told you, like, when I first, like, heard that Al was the best detective in the world and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is just going to be like a quick opponent that, Light's just going to get killed right away.
Yeah, little do you know, the next 20 episodes.
And we know. When he actually, like, when he tricked, Lindell Taylor, like, it showed, even though he didn't know about the Death Note, like, he was still able to trick Light into, like, basically, revealing where he was and everything like that. Like,
yeah, I guess that's a big thing. Like, even though Walt was like a rookie earlier on, he didn't make any big mistakes like that.
Yeah.
Like Walt, I feel like Light overall was better at like not coming off as like a rookie.
Yeah.
Except for that one big thing. Like his ego really screwed him on that.
Yeah. And and then where they showed like Hank could be a good adversary. I feel like it really showed once he got, attacked by the cousins, because then, he really was able to tackle on, like, the Eisenberg case. Because I think Walt was always, kind of worried about it, but I feel like, once he found out, like, Gus was involved, that's when he really kind of, got worried. And, but those other times, like, when he found the RV, that him and Jesse were in, that got him really worried. Because those were, like, the two other, other when he actually found out, those were, like, the two closest times, like, he was caught, until he, eventually was found out.
Yeah.
I feel like another thing we could talk about that's kind of the same, is that they both want even though, like, the heroes, they both want the best people.
Yeah. Like, Al even admitted himself he's a little bit evil.
Yeah.
Like, he's not really hunting Light or Kira for, like, good reasons. He's just kind of selfish and wants to play a game.
Yeah. Like, examples of that, is he was going to kill that inmate. I forget his name, but, that inmate to even prove.
Lindell Taylor. He knew Lindell Taylor was probably going to get killed, but he let him go on anyway.
Yeah. Or,
he was a death row inmate, but still.
Yeah. Torturing Misa, even keeping, like, Chief Yagami and Light locked up longer than they were supposed to have been. Like, even
like not letting them know that the killings have started up again.
Yeah. But then meanwhile, you have Hank, who, because of the Eisenberg case, he got PTSD from it. He was starting bar fights. And I feel like kind of a big thing in a way. And I feel like it kind of makes sense. Like, he was letting Marie, even though she had a condition and stuff, like, get away with, like, shoplifting and stuff like that because he worked, in the police force. And I think they showed us that scene because, maybe it was like, well, what is he going to do when he finds out, like, someone like Waldus Eisenberg, someone he's also really close with.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit different. Shoplifting.
Yeah.
And like, he was trying to help her with it. Like, he was telling her to go to therapy and stuff.
Yeah. But, that's definitely something that's, the same. That they both, like, morally want the bad. Like, I'm not saying they were bad people, but they want, they want the, like, they want Superman or Batman.
Paragons, yeah.
They're not, they want, like, saving the planet or anything like that. Like,
and I think it's also kind of cool to note that, like they were, like, the second main characters in a way.
Yeah.
Well, like, Al and Light were, like, the two main A lot of people say Al was the main character. and like, cause he like, gets like almost as much screen time as Light.
Yeah.
And Hank, Breaking Bad's a bit different in this way because like, it divides it up a bit more. It's like, and with Death Note, it's almost always focused on L or Light,
and
up until L dies. With Breaking Bad, it divides it up a bit more. It's not just like Walt and Hank. It's Walt, Hank, Gus, Mike, Jesse.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah, though, like, it's like, really Ellen Light story where, and Breaking Bad, like, it's Walt's story. It's Walt's
It's a bit of
story.
everyone's.
Huh?
Yeah, where Breaking Bad, it's focused on a bit more people, on a few more.
Like, even like some of the side characters, and I could say what is one thing that Breaking Bad does better. Even the side characters, they really focus on a lot as well.
Actually, I think that's something important we should say. Like, Breaking Bad, Walt had Jesse. Death Note didn't really have anyone like that for Light. He had Ryuk, but that's not really the same.
Yeah, like Ryuk even said, like, I'm not on your side, like, know.
I'm just, like, observing this.
Yeah.
And this is clearly shown because Ryuk kills Light.
Yeah. And, Walt and Jesse were on each other's side up until the confession episode. And but, like, Breaking Bad also focuses, a little bit on Gus, mainly because, he's a villain.
Yeah, Mike, Saul, Skyler,
So,
Breaking Bad also has more of, like, a real-world setting. Death Note is real, too, except for the Death Note, but, like,
Yeah, like, there's no Shinigami world in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, like Breaking Bad, like, is our world.
Yeah.
Death Note is our world except for the Death Note. Like, it's everything except that one thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you have, another, big difference. And, this is, like, kind of where we can talk about, this is something we really haven't talked about all that much, when we were doing, like, the time jump episodes, like, when me and AJ were together, because we marathoned it all in a day. One flaw about, Death Note is, once the time jump actually, like, happens, it's rushed, like, heavily.
Yeah, like, it's like 10 episodes was way too little for how much stuff happens.
Yeah, like, they should have spread it out. Like, I feel like they should have had, maybe 15, because I think 20 would have been too much. I think 15 would have been, a good stretch.
Well, yeah, it was like 25 focused on L versus Light, and like 10 focused on Light versus Mello and Nier. Like, Mello's barely even in the show.
Yeah, like, and like I said, there's another difference. No one's disappearing off, and well, I guess Saul and Walt disappear off in places, but still, no one's like disappearing out of the show without any explanation.
And then coming back, be like, "Oh, hey, I'm back, by the way."
And then just die, and then you just die. Right?
I disappeared for 10 episodes for no reason.
Yeah, because it happened with Mel, and I feel like it happened with someone else in Death Note, not the business guy, because that's just a joke. But I know it definitely happened with someone else in Death Note. I'm just not thinking about who it is.
He got in that explosion and he disappeared for like 5 episodes.
Yeah. And then Breaking Bad, basically, like, everyone, like, exited the show in a good fashion.
A lot of closure.
Yeah. I mean, the only one you can really make the argument that doesn't exit the show in a good fashion really is Marie. She just kind of not really there as much, but
I know, like, her husband dies and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but, like, Marie wasn't, like, a big... Like, that's a difference between Mel and, Marie, because while Marie was kind of, a big character in the show, she was more of, like, a side character, and with Hank,
Yeah, it was kind of like, it was like Hank Skyler,
Yeah, and she still kind of got some closure, like,
yeah, she's like, she sees Walter Jr. and...
Yeah.
And Holly, she doesn't really talk to her sister anymore, but, like, life goes on, she's okay.
Yeah, and they made, at least for that moment, like, some type of truce where, she warned Skylar that, Walt was there.
Yeah, so, like, she cares about her, she doesn't want Skylar dead.
But, like, Mel just, like, full-on disappeared. No, actually, that's not even after the explosion. Remember, he goes and talks to Neil, like, and gives him some information, and then he's gone.
Then he shows up on a bike and dies.
Yeah, like, did he die the same episode? I think he did, right?
I think so, yeah.
It's tough to tell, because I guess...
It's been, like, 2 months.
Yeah. I guess, one thing we could kind of talk about, maybe this affected, like, this channel a little bit. One good thing, that we could say Death Note maybe does, I mean, I think it's just more for our sake, though, anyways, is, the Death Note's shorter and Breaking Bad's longer. So, when we wanted to do the videos, it was easier to do Death Note because, we only had to watch it.
Yeah, Death Note is very, I feel like Death Note's very bingeable compared to Breaking Bad.
Yeah, like Breaking Bad, yeah, because, with the reviews we still managed it very well. We reviewed the amount of episodes that we did and stuff.
And I like Breaking Bad, like the characters in Breaking Bad more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
But I feel like Death Note I feel like both were stories about how a good person becomes evil. I think Death Note does that better.
Yeah, I would say so. I would
just Light is 100% just a piece of shit through and through.
Yeah, and you could and there's things that happen with Walt, he every time he would get there, something Skylar left him. So he's kind of well, I'm kind of questioning myself a little bit. And I'll say that's criticism. I'm just saying,
that's not a bad thing. Just
yeah.
And I feel like Death Note also had more big moments in a way. That's not to say Breaking Bad doesn't have big moments.
Yeah.
Say my name and when Gus gets killed, those are awesome. But when Elle confronts Light for the first time, when Light kills Lindo Taylor, all this other stuff, I feel like that. Like those little moments I like better in Death Note than Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
I'm more likely to type into YouTube Death Note whatever scene than Breaking Bad.
I think Death Note's I know you can find a lot of Breaking Bad scenes, but I think Death Note's fairly easier to find in a way because you can just look it up. Kind of with the clips to look up and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to okay, am I gonna watch a random clip from the show? I'm more likely to go watch a Death Note clip.
Yeah. I think the soundtrack's the soundtrack's good in both, but I like the soundtrack a little bit better in Death Note too.
Except for Walt's Death. Walt's Death I watch every other day.
Yeah. And I do like
that's awesome.
I do like there's another soundtrack. The soundtrack, the song that plays right after at the end of season 4, we're right at fade to black because it just defined how much Walt was becoming a piece of shit at that point. But I think Death Note, had the the opening theme song. Even though I actually like Breaking Bad a little better because it's shorter. I feel like that kind of takes away from Death Note a little bit because the show's 22 minutes and most of it is taken up with the intro and then the outro.
Yeah.
But I really
Bad. It's an hour, so
yeah.
It has its advantages and disadvantages being shorter and longer.
Yeah, but I really like Death Note's intro. L song every time, when he's when this logo pops up, mysterious, Kila's song when he's in his killing montage, and stuff like that.
The flyer, that's awesome.
Yeah, I listen to that I legit every day.
Really? Oh yeah, that's a good one.
What else is a good one?
When Light dies, I feel like Walt's music is better when he dies, the Baby Blue.
Yeah.
But the song that it plays when Light dies is good, the piano.
And we should really talk about Actually, I want to talk about too they even do they both do the little scenes very well, in Breaking Bad the little scenes that turn into a big scene is when Walt I said that scene Willy Wonka Woodrow Wilson. And Walt goes, "You got me." That ends up being a big scene, by after Gildan and all over.
Also, comedy. I feel like Breaking Bad's less serious than Death Note.
Yeah,
or at least it does its funny moments better.
Yeah, I mean the funny. There is some funny moments in Death Note,
Yeah, I remember one episode. It was after his dad pretended to shoot Light. That was a big moment, and then the rest of the episode was kind of funny moments.
Yeah.
I get why they did it because it was meant to it was a lot, very stressful the last few episodes
yeah.
But I feel it didn't do it in a good way. It was just
other little things Breaking Bad did well. And this kind of means a lot more that scene where Walt's telling Walter Jr. The only memory he has of his father, and he says Walt doesn't want Walter Jr. to have to think of his father in a bad light. That scene kind of means a lot more now because now he does.
Yeah. Breaking Bad's better being dramatic irony type of thing.
Yeah, and like you said, you kind of touched on the little scenes of Death Note in a way. One One side character though they built very well was we really didn't talk about in Death Note was Matsuda. He got built up, and Aizawa too a little bit, but I feel like more Matsuda got built up.
Yeah, Matsuda was like the main one, I think. Like he was like the comic relief who wanted to prove himself, and he ends up fatally wounding Light.
Yeah, and he's like the reason, like he kind of is like I don't Neo help, but he's really the one. I think. I mean, I guess it was really L, but like at that moment, it was kind of like Matsuda like really wounded. Light to the point where like
Light would have killed Nier if it wasn't for Matsuda.
Yeah, so would Ryuk have killed Light if it wasn't for if he wasn't wounded?
Yeah, well, I mean, if Light went to jail, he probably would have, but
yeah,
at that point.
And then I'm like trying to make sure. I think one flaw like that Death Note kind of has versus Breaking Bad is I feel like a lot of some of the characters maybe die a bit too soon in Death Note than in Breaking Bad. Like Breaking Bad, I can't really think of like a character that really died too soon in Breaking Bad.
Honestly, aside I feel like Breaking Bad does better like fleshing out its characters.
Yeah, because I feel like
like we got characters like Matsuda and like Aizawa, but like every other one is kind of just like I don't even remember most of the names of the task force, aside from Matsuda and Aizawa.
But I feel like like Chief Yagami was a big one that died. Like he died way.
Yeah, he died way too early.
Yeah, he should have died. He should. I mean, he probably he died like episode 29, and how many episode Death Note's episode is 37 episodes. He probably should have died maybe episode like 33, 34-ish. That would have been good.
Yeah, he should have lasted a while. That's us saying like we think Mello should have been more involved.
Yeah. But still, I feel
like like how Takeda was the one who died bringing down Mello. I think it should have been like Chief Yagami dying bringing down Mello.
Yeah, I mean he did, but like later on, like that scene should have been, Yeah,
like I like his death scene, like Light like trying to manipulate his dad until he just realizes he's dead and starts crying.
Yeah, but I feel like that scene would have been later on. I think.
Yeah, kind of like the end of Death Note. We said like we love like that scene. Just like everything leading up to that scene should have been different.
That's actually a big difference. Is the demise? I think is more of Walt is more enjoyable than Light. Like I said.
Well, in different ways. With like Light, you're supposed to be happy that it gets screwed over.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. Like we didn't have any stupid thing where Hank figured it out because he read the script.
Yeah, exactly. Near.
Yeah. I feel like we gotta roast him again because you haven't roasted him in a while. So
can't be a Death Note video without throwing shade at Near.
Unless it's episodes 1 through 26, then it can be. So
he's not in the show.
Yeah, but yeah, Near, like, stop reading the script.
Well, actually, he's in the show before episode 26. It's called L, and he's better.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, L is just better Near.
I feel like too. You know what? Even though this is more for our videos purposes, the joke came out like about like how we just love Gomez. We made the joke like we didn't care Hank died. It was all about Gomez. I mean.
Oh yeah, same thing. Like we Mellows whatever, but Matt, man, not Matt.
Yeah, in
so
Death
Matt
Note
is basically like the Gomez of Death Note.
Yeah, that's more like a little side joke right there. But
rest in peace. Our favorite characters die in both shows, Gomez and Matt, and also that one guy from the business committee that dies and goes to Hawaii.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I feel like we got to really talk about now the end. Well, actually, no, one more thing that's the same.
Well, also I want to say like Breaking Bad, it got better and better as time went on.
Yeah,
it got better and better up until L died, and then it's kind of like went downhill.
Yeah,
it was still good.
I think,
it's just not as good as it was.
I don't think it deserves like the. I feel like people give it like a bit too much criticism. After the time, like it's still good. It's not like
people say like it's crap after time skip. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that's a bit too harsh. I think and I feel like too even though Walt and Light both got crazy. I feel like Light got crazier definitely as the time, and that's why we talked about too. Light probably sucks like after the time jump because he's just crazy at that point too.
Yeah, he's just like a nut job. He's not thinking clearly.
Yeah. And that's why I know this is like a big. That's why I think Mel would have been a good opponent for him because who was the one that always was getting Light to struggle after the time jump? It was Mel that got him to struggle. Like Mel was throwing monkey wrenches in there. Like
exactly, he was the wild card.
Yeah, but nope. Guess wild cards.
Like Light was trained to fight someone like L, and then someone like Mello comes in who's completely different.
Yeah, like that would have been so much. Like, can you people would have believed Mel taking down Light? I mean, Mel was small, but like. Yeah. I feel like Light would have.
I mean, I like the idea of Nier and Mello teaming up. It's just like not the way it happened.
Yeah, like it should have been Mel that took down Light, not Neo. Yeah. So you know, I think we got to talk about one big. I feel like we touched on it, but we really got to talk about like a big topic. Walt and Light's ego got the best of him in both shows.
Yeah.
You know,
they both could have quit whenever they wanted, but they didn't.
And then by the time Walt did
quit,
and
they both kind of like kept trying to justify what they did.
Yeah, and then by the time Walt quit, it was too late. You know, because Hank found out like, what do you say? Like, I think he was out of the business like what 3 weeks or something like that.
Like 3 weeks, a month, something like that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a few months since we've seen it, but and it also, I feel like too, they also got caught in ways that was kind of out of their control.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we didn't talk about like the only reason Skylar finds out like he's in the business is because he was heavily medicated and accidentally gave away he had like a second cell phone by accident.
But like, he had that book that Gail gave him on his toilet, and he would never thought in a million years that Hank would pick it up, start reading it, and realize it was the same poem from Gail.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I feel like, if Walt had a time machine, he would have gone back in time, I think, and, make sure he moved that book.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with Light. He could have never thought Mikami went to the banks twice in one day to kill Takada like he did.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what did him in. We didn't talk about... Because
like, if Light didn't kill Takada, he would have realized, oh, Mikami did.
Yeah.
But because they both wrote her name on the same day, he just thought he was the one who killed her. Mikami didn't do it.
Yeah. What do you think? So who do you think so she probably fell victim then to more so Mikami since she wrote, or do you think like?
Yeah, I think they said like Mikami wrote her name first. I just don't remember.
So she was gonna die regardless. So
yeah. I
feel like I'm wondering though if Light's because we don't really know when like the time that Mikami wrote and such too. But then we could talk about the ending to break him. I mean, I feel like though the ending of the characters is kind of similar. Like Light and Walt die kind of like in similar positions in a way, which is kind of weird.
The only real difference is like Granite State kind of made Walt realize that he is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And like he tried to redeem himself a little bit. Like he didn't fully redeem himself, but he tried to like make amends in the best way he could.
How could we forget about the biggest ego, by the way? But Light laugh. Why don't you talk about Light laughing too much?
Light couldn't contain himself when Mikami was writing the Death Note names, thinking he won.
Yeah.
And he tells Nier to his face, "Well, it looks like I win." And then when he realizes that Nier swapped the Death Notes. And he just, and you know what? He did something like I feel like Walt would have never did. He starts bluffing,
Yeah.
It's like, are you sure you have the real Death Note? That type of thing.
Yeah. Walt bluffs a little bit, I think, but not to that extent. Like not that obvious.
I do like how they both like break down under pressure, like how like Walt in the crawl space just starts like laughing.
Yeah.
Same thing with Light happens, where he just like breaks down at the warehouse and starts like laughing.
Yeah.
And at Elle's funeral.
They both had, another thing that's the same is they both had to fight to get really really powerful. Light, because Light really couldn't get like powerful worldwide until he killed Elle. They really made sure to talk about that because Elle was keeping Kira at bay pretty much. Like Light had to kind of kill just in the beginning of the show just to kind of trick L, not really to do kind of what he wanted to do.
Oh,
but,
that's what we should talk about. After they kill like their main opponents, like Walt kills Gus,
yeah,
and L like kills L. They can kind of like rule unopposed, basically. Like Walt like starts making meth all the time, like he's making a lot more money, he's running his own business.
yeah.
And now he finally gets all this power, he's bored. Same
And
thing
like,
with L. Like he starts killing everyone he wants.
yeah,
Like, countries are like now just accepting Kira. Like everyone's like, you know,
yeah,
society changes for Kira, and he's bored now.
yeah. Even and they both and a lot of people say, you know, which we've addressed this before, like, you know, Walt only quit the business because, you know, he wanted Skylar to have a life back, da 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 da. I don't think that's the case, because if Walt really wanted to have kept making meth at that point, I think he would have. Like, yeah.
Like I do think that played a part in it.
But,
Like
you
I
know,
feel like seeing how much money he made was like a bit of a wake up call.
yeah, like that.
But like it was mostly because I was bored.
What do you mean, Walt?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and you know, feel like we got to talk about like, but yeah, but even Walt had to fight for power before that because he had to kill Tuco, he had to kill this person and such. So I think Walt had to fight a little bit more to get power, mainly because you know.
Yeah, Walt had to get like physically his hands dirtier more.
Yeah.
They kind of had like other people do his dirty work for him.
Yeah, like Light really didn't have to get like his hands dirty until he lost his memory, ironically enough. And you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I feel like Light was better like planning out like long term.
Yeah, I would say so.
Walt kind of like in Breaking Bad, like things kept changing so much so quickly. Walt kind of had to like improvise plan.
Yeah, like you know, anytime
once he learned about Hector and like his feud with Gus, he was able to like make a bomb and like stuff like that, and that's smart. Yeah. Like he did all that in like half a day, you know.
Yeah.
Like so he's really, I feel like he's better at Light at like thinking on the spot.
Yeah.
I feel like Light's better at like sitting down, coming up with like a big plan and like sticking to that.
Can you imagine if Light without the death, like but that's kind of a tough. Well, let's just say Light had the, but you know, Light had like the brain he had, like going up against Gus. Like, I wonder if he would be able to kill Gus quicker than Walt in a way.
I wonder. Yeah. Well, it's also like Walt's more experienced in that type of thing.
Yeah, like you know, because you have to think like he doesn't have the death note and such, so it's like you know, kind of tough. But because he could just write Gus's name down and then that'd be it. But
also, I think Walt's a bit craftier. Like he's more unique. Like I would have never thought to. And how do I want to kill a bunch of white supremacists? I'll buy a gun and attach it to my car.
Yeah.
So when I press my car keys, it'll light everyone up. Like,
or you know, hiding like the vice in like you know, like in like assault and like and making it look like it just got sucked up in like that vacuum thing that Jesse had.
Although I will say, White also kind of does this. Like he planned out like the bus jacking and all that.
Yeah.
So they're both very good at like taking what little they have and like making something with it.
Both are really good at, like I said, taking a huge gamble. Like you know, Light, like we said, took a huge gamble, losing his memory because you know he had to rely that he was going to wear that watch and touch his death note at and you know be able to kill. Because can you imagine, by the way, if you know. Even if L made the plan, like imagine they just never caught the new Kira, like which you know wasn't gonna happen, but you know.
Yeah, imagine if they didn't, like Light just wouldn't have his memories.
Yeah, and I feel like too that's like what I like about it. Like even though Light lost his memories, and in any other show, like he would have just like thought he was in like you know still in high school. Like at least he had his enough. Like he just didn't know.
Like he just lost specifically of the death note. He knew he was in college and all that.
Cause that would make it. Can you imagine like he just thought he was like in high school.
Well, I gotta go to school tomorrow. Light, you graduated like a year ago. Oh shit, did I? Oh, what?
Doesn't even know what college he's in. Nothing. Just.
Oh, I can vote now. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah. I feel like too we got to talk about kind of like the different reactions that they had when they beat their opponents. Like Walt, when he beat Gus, was more of kind of like a sigh of relief because you know he didn't have to like you know worry about the fact he was gonna die anymore. And you know at L's funeral, he's like as soon as the task force leaves, he like
gets down and starts laughing at Elle's grave.
Yeah. But then
they both kind of say "I win." Like, remember Walt calls Skylar and says like "I win."
Yeah.
And Light's like screaming at Elle, "I win!" So they both kind of do that.
Yeah, it's just the feelings I think were different because
yeah.
And the biggest thing of them all though, because I think we basically what show do you think was more popular? Was it Breaking Bad, or do you think it was Death Note?
I feel like Breaking Bad is more popular in the States, and like internationally, I think Death Note's more popular.
It probably depends too. Like, if you're like an anime buff, Death Note would probably be more popular. To like the anime fans. And Breaking, but if you don't really like anime, you wouldn't like if you don't really like entertain the thought of anime, no one would really know about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I feel like even if you're not like a Dragon Ball, even if you're not an anime fan, like people know what Dragon Ball is.
Yeah, that's true. So
I feel like Death Note's one of those things where it's like even if you don't watch anime, you know what Death Note is.
Yeah. And
I like Breaking Bad more, but I think Death Note like worldwide is more popular.
Yeah. I would say like the both like I mean it's tough to say because Death Note's the only anime I've really seen, but it's probably like if you were probably to make a top 5 list, the Death Note would be like maybe the top 5 anime, and Breaking Bad's like
a lot of people like it,
and then Breaking Bad's probably on the top. It's definitely the top one now. After that, I mean I didn't see it, but a lot of people hated like Game of Thrones, everyone was saying was the best show ever.
Oh yeah, until season 8, everyone said season 8 sucked.
Yeah, isn't it kind of funny though? I like
shout out to Long Beach Griffey. I showed him a couple of his videos.
Did
he made a Game of Thrones?
Well, have you ever seen like yeah? Have you ever seen kind of like the memes too, where everyone said this was the most popular show, and then it like shows Walt like sitting in his like throne and stuff, saying I'm still number one, baby, or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have.
You probably have. You just don't know. You just haven't known it. But let's talk about, the biggest difference is like we talked about, and like I said, we're not going to really, talk about this a lot because we made a whole 2 videos on, 3 videos on it in a way. The characters in Breaking Bad, even in after Death 1, versus the characters in Death Note.
Yeah, really, Death Note, everyone kind of lost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, we get less closure with people. Like the show ends immediately after Light dies. So we don't really find out what happens with Matsuda and Aizawa. We kind of assume like it just life goes on, business as usual. Or
Neo, we know nothing about Neo because you don't care about that. So
I don't really.
Yeah.
we know Misa kills herself, but that's about it.
Yeah. With Breaking Bad, like we know Better Call Saul is on, so we don't like basically we had an idea though what happened to Saul. We don't really officially know what it is because Better Call Saul is going on right now. So
yeah,
because I think
we're getting the movie, so we know what's gonna happen with Jesse.
Because I think I will say this. I know I haven't seen it. I think we're all gonna get a Better Call Saul season with Saul. Maybe not like the last half of the season is gonna be Saul in the present.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I think if the whole season's in the present, it would be boring. Because it's just Saul.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen it yet. But I do think
that the first episode of each season shows a little bit of him in the present, but that's about it.
But I do think we are gonna, have a whole season with him, either a whole or half a season with him in the present.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be nice.
Yeah, because we don't. Is it definitely right after Walt's death, or is it as he's in Walt's in hiding himself? Does it tell?
It doesn't really say.
Because that'd be kind of cool if it's kind of while Walt's in hiding.
How long was Walt in hiding? A couple months? Then yeah, it's probably after Walt's death.
Yeah. But then anyhow, we're trailing off a little bit. But we know what happens with Saul. We know, like I said, we know what happens with Jesse. we have an idea like what's going to happen with Skylar and Walter Jr. Unless Walter Jr. blows all the money, then good luck to you. Then
he buys $2 million worth of pancakes.
Yeah, we kind of have an idea what's going to happen with Marie. We have an idea. I mean, basically, we know where Mike, Hank, Tuco, and LM then no longer with us. So
peace. My favorite murderous drug kingpins.
Yeah.
We hardly.
But yeah. So I will say that's kind of like a big difference. Like we know kind of what the characters are in Breaking Bad than Death Note. And then but we did talk about this. Like I said, we did 3 videos on it. The characters in Death Note, Breaking Bad 1, like Walt. Because I want to talk to those people. If everyone thinks like Walt and Hank lost because they died, then there was no point of you watching the show. Like,
yeah, I know. Like Hank, I feel like is more debatable. I feel like Walt,
yeah,
won more than we made a video. We made videos on these, but yeah like they were satisfied.
Yeah,
with what happened.
It would just be like, well, how can they be satisfied? Because, like, I think if Hank had continued to live and not have been able to, like, catch Eisenberg, that would have been a loss. Like,
yeah. If Jack just let him go, I feel like Hank would have been more, like, upset than when Jack just killed him.
Yeah. But yeah, so nobody even say. But if there are those people that say that, then you completely wasted like your time watching this show. You shouldn't have watched it. Like, I know I tell people to watch it, but I am gonna say that like if you just, I mean, you could still say
watch the show unless you don't agree with me. Then don't watch it.
No, you could still say they lost, but don't say they lost because they died. That's not,
of course.
That's not because what evidence do you have that they lost just because if you just throw that they died, like then you didn't really.
And then everyone loses. Ever, because we all die.
Yeah.
You watching this video, you will die someday. Have fun with
that.
Lucy Liu, I love you. You are a baby. You will never die. You will live on forever.
You were
taking a nap. I'm sorry I woke you up.
You'll die if you don't let her finish her nap.
Yeah, right. She'll like claw my throat out.
But yeah, but then everyone
goes right back taking a nap. All right, good job, baby.
But then everyone in Death Note, lost. And like I said, Don't even go saying Light and L both died because that's just because you died you didn't lose. So, but you imagine if someone actually dies and then we're gonna come over here and say it's a loss though, like because Gus lost because he died because it was just really the first one who died in that. So.
Like I mean, I guess you could say he won in the way that Hector died too, but not really.
Yeah.
Or Hector finally looked at him.
Yeah. But not the way he wanted to be looked at though. Like, yeah. Anyhow, but yeah, like I said, we're not gonna go through in too much detail because, like I said, we did a whole 3 videos about it. We're not gonna wait. We're not gonna make those videos a waste. So
yeah, 4 when the Breaking Bad movie comes out.
Yeah, because like I said, we are gonna do one about because we don't know if Jesse won or lost yet. So
Yeah. If we didn't know there was a movie coming out, we would make one. But because we do, we're gonna wait.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's I mean, is there any other like? Because I can't think of like any other comparisons or contrasts to really make.
Not really. We went over how like the stories are similar but different. The characters, the endings.
Yeah.
What show we like better? Like what each does. Its strong points and its weak points.
I mean, I guess maybe we could say, too, with, like, the critics, we don't really know which one's more critically acclaimed, because Death Note, you can't really find, like, anyone that's reviewed it, really, like, that's a critic.
I guess another similarity, both main characters have dumb, annoying, blonde-haired girlfriends.
Yeah. And one of them... I mean, I feel like, though, Skylar in the beginning, yeah. But, once...
Skylar got better towards the end.
I think once, like, the end of season... No, not even the... I think season 5 she got better. Because, season 4 she had that annoying storyline.
Misa was good. Okay, Misa was bad before the whole amnesia thing. She was good during the amnesia thing because she actually, like, contributed. But then she was, like, barely in the show.
Oh, yeah. And, there was an episode where she became... Like, she was able to find, technically, Mikami, who was... I mean, that was still part of Light's plan, but still, like, So yeah, like they both having like annoying girlfriends. That's definitely a big thing. I feel like too we didn't really talk about this either. Is did I don't maybe we did. They ruined everybody's lives around them. Because we really didn't say that. Light. His mother and sister are gonna be traumatized forever because they lost their dad/husband. And if I have to say which one is which, then what the hell? You know, and they found out that the brother/son, and if I have to say which one is which, then get out of here.
Obviously, Hank is Light's son.
Yeah. That'd be funny. That's possible. That would be hilarious, actually.
I mean, I can see it. That's how they cross over Death Note and Breaking Bad. It all makes sense.
Yeah, I mean they both. I mean too. Like the timeline's different. Like Breaking Bad takes place from 2008 to 2010. Well,
Yeah,
Death
2
Note
years. So yeah, Breaking Bad. I mean, Death Note takes place in the comic. It's 2004. In the show, it's 2006.
Yeah.
And it ends in 2012.
No, 2013 because it was January the next year.
Right. Well, yeah, it's 5 years, so
2008.
Yeah, about 2013.
And I think it's kind of cool, like Breaking Bad, like it starts on Walt's birthday and ends on Walt's birthday. So that's really cool. Like it starts when he's 50 and then it ends with his 52.
Oh, both characters get killed by themselves in a way.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Both because Light got killed because of his Death Note. And
Ryu, the one person he thought he never had to worry about, Ryu, wrote his name in the Death Note.
I mean, that's even similar to Walt. Like Walt, the one person you never have to worry about, Jesse turned against him in a way too. Like
and then his own machine gun took him out.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like we kind of covered everything. We could probably keep listing off more things, but I feel like at this point we're just kind of. I mean, those were pretty big thins, but other things. I think the other thins are going to be like little. Like there was cups in both shows, and there was,
Light and Walt both have hair.
Yeah. No, not the whole time.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes though.
Yeah, sometimes. That's a different. That's a. You know what? We should have just said that at the end of the video. They both.
Yeah. Walt has hair, so does Light, but then Walt doesn't have hair, and Light has hair. The end.
But that's the only compare and contrast we just took away from the whole show.
Yeah, pretty much.
The video was just like what, like 5 minutes? Like everything else just didn't matter. It
takes 5 minutes to tell someone that someone has hair and someone doesn't.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a long 5 minutes.
I mean, no one would know that if you didn't watch. If you watch the show, you would. If you watch both shows, you would never guess that. By the way, like never.
I know, right? Well, you have glasses. You never know. Your eyesight ain't that good.
Yeah. Maybe Walt was just wearing a ball cap all those years. So.
Yeah, maybe. Like he didn't even have cancer in the first place. He was just pranking everyone. He never cooked meth either. It was all just a big elaborate joke.
I know, right? It's really just it's not really meth. It's really just pop. The candy pop. It's all just pop walks all along.
Yeah. I think someone made a comment on a YouTube video. It was like, the whole series was an elaborate plan to get Jesse to finally learn chemistry.
No, yeah. Can you imagine too? By the way, if Light's Death Note doesn't really kill anyone, they just happen to die right after. They just happen to naturally die right after he bites the name in. Just
yeah. Okay, I think this is a sign that we're sidetracking. When we start talking about people having heart attacks for no reason, I think that's the sign.
Yeah.
That we've
The Shinigami's not really there. It's just Light's
smoking Walt's meth.
Yeah. And he just all of this is just Light's.
And that's what started the Walking Dead apocalypse.
Yeah.
Wrapped it all together, all three.
I feel like one more big thing. There's a big conspiracy theory at the end of both shows.
Oh yeah.
They say Breaking Bad and Walking Dead's in the same universe. That's a big conspiracy theory. A lot of people are making the conspiracy theory whether or not Walt really lived or not at the end. Versus,
Death Note. Oh, yeah,
you know,
you want to say it?
actually, you say the Death Note one because you kind of know about it more than me. So
Yeah. I showed him the clip, but we didn't watch the whole thing. The conspiracy theory that that Shinigami that asks Ryuk about what happened in the human world, people theorize that that's Light reincarnated.
yeah, and a lot of what ifs you can make now too from like each show. Like, what if like Walt didn't poison Block? What if Walt didn't? What if Walt just stuck with gray matter? What if Walt? What if Gus won? What if?
Yeah, what if Walt never got cancer?
Yeah.
What if Jesse killed Walt?
Yeah.
Death Note. What if Al picked up the Death Note?
Yeah.
What if Chief Yagami didn't die?
Yeah. What if
Light didn't kill Lindell Taylor?
Yeah. What if Al and Light never met face to face? Because that's a big difference. What if Light dropped his watch in the toilet?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Which we'll be making these videos.
What if Hank didn't take a shit that day, or he took a piss instead?
Yeah. What if Hank had taken a shit in 2018 instead?
What if Light had diarrhea and didn't go to school the day the Death Note dropped?
Oh wow. What if Ryuk wasn't bored? And that's another thing. Like the show started because two characters were Walt was bored and Ryuk was bored.
Yeah, pretty much, and Light also.
Yeah, Light all. Yeah, but mainly but Ryuk wouldn't have dropped the Death Note if he wasn't bored though.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah. So yeah, now we're done. Like I keep saying we're done, but then we keep thinking of more things. So
we pretty much covered everything we wanted to. These are both great shows. If you haven't seen them, I don't know why you're watching this. We said who dies and who lives like 8 times.
And we just basically gave away both shows, like the big highlights of both shows. So
but,
don't get mad at us
because these shows, faults. We love them. We love them a lot.
There's really not a lot of faults. I mean, I think there's more faults with like Death Note than Breaking Bad. But
yeah, but I feel like Death Note's highs are also higher than Breaking Bad, which is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
I think Breaking Bad's like more consistently good.
Yeah. And when like I said, when Death Note was hot, like I said, I feel like obviously I feel like we would like Death Note is an A just based off the first 26 episodes. So yeah. Because I do include L's even though it's a director's cut, I do include it as part of the episodic series. So but let's do the plugs because we're rambling.
I don't think I should talk about mine, dude. I haven't uploaded in like a year.
Yeah. I will say this, thank you to Vince Gilligan and let me look it up real quick. The person that created Death Note, because I feel like if we give Vince Gilligan credit, we got to give the person that created Death Note.
Yeah, I think 2 people created Death Note actually.
So we do the anime one then, or like the real the manga?
No, I'll probably say who created Death Note.
I'll just look it up. Who created Death Note? I know I probably should have had this plan, but I feel I didn't plan on doing like a thank you. So
yeah, and and aside from the creators, also thank you.
Oh my god, I cannot say this. I'm not going to be able to say it at all.
All right, here I'll look it up. But thank you so much to the animators for Death Note. All of them.
I think it's
Thank you for the all the hardworking camera people and actors on Breaking Bad, like Vince, Bryan Cranston, Aaron Paul.
Mm-hmm. Bob Odwick, best known as Saul. Dean Norris. Jonathan Goodman. That's who plays Mike, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
And then the actor that played. Okay,
I'm gonna try to pronounce the Death Note creators. Thank you to Sugumi Hoba and Takeshi Abota. I'm sorry for mispronouncing your names.
Yeah.
If you ever come across this random video on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks to all
for the last hour.
Yeah, thanks to all the actors that because if we try to look up the actor's name of Death Note, we're not gonna be able to say him. So.
Yeah, the voice actors. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Both in Japan.
It was a big project for. These shows were big projects for these channels.
Yeah, so, I feel like we got to make sure we say all this stuff because, this is the last time we're going to talk about this. Like I said,
The main shows, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we will do overviews, of Breaking Bad, when the movie gets closer. We will review Better Call Saul. We plan on reviewing Better Call Saul in the spring of next year. That's the plan right now. But like I
let
said,
the movie digest a little.
Yeah, because
what's up?
Because we talk. I don't. We talk. We don't think anybody like from Better Call Saul is gonna be in the Breaking Bad movie because it wouldn't make sense. Because it would contain spoilers.
Yeah, spoil who lives and who dies in the show, right?
Yeah. But yeah.
Aside from obvious people.
Wait, what?
Aside from obvious people, like Mike shows up in Better Call Saul. Gee, I wonder if this changes what happens to him in Breaking Bad. Like, yeah, he still dies in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, what if people actually think like that?
Better Call Saul creates a new timeline. Walt never got cancer, so.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah. Death Note. We have the movies.
Yeah.
The live action show, whatever else they make. That's a good thing about popular shows like this. We get a ton of more content afterwards.
We're gonna review the manga. I don't think we're gonna do a read aloud for it because it's tough to do a read aloud with two people and stuff. We'll
probably just do it chapter by chapter.
Yeah, I don't think the show. I feel like if we did a read aloud, I don't think that would be good content because that'd be bad. I think because we don't
really have Morgan Freeman voices.
No, and I feel like
we're two pasty white people.
Yeah, especially you. I don't think our reading skills are up to par. Yours.
I read English good. Thank you very much.
Anyhow, as for the plug, I really don't need to plug because I'm on both channels pretty much. So it's like if you're watching this.
About me, I score in the top 10% in my English scores, but I also live in Florida, so that's not really saying much.
Yeah. But if you're watching this on the CM Brothers channel, subscribe to that, and then go over to and if you're watching this on the Talkinator channel, subscribe to that and then whatever channel you're watching it on, go to the other channel and subscribe to that because I've never released a video like this on multiple channels unless it's a channel update, so it's kind of weird to
Yeah, so if you like the stuff on whatever channel you're watching this on, go check out the other one, basically.
Yeah, you can watch that great. On the CM Brothers, you can watch that great Kiss Time Sis review that gets hated every day, I think.
But it was our most viewed video, so that's something to be proud of.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. We're gonna end the video. I have a feeling me and AJ are probably gonna talk for a while, probably 15 more minutes, and then we'll end the video.
Or end the Skype call, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, guys. See you later.
Tune in next time. Goodbye.